For many, this heat, dust, and isolation remain the perception of agriculture. However, in the 21st century, agriculture is an exciting, high-tech sector that feeds the world.
Good morning.
How's it
How are
going?
things there? I'm sure you're feeling it too. We're having crazy weather. The prediction was 60 millimeters of rain yesterday and 60 millimeters of rain today. I don't know how much has fallen, but I think it could be very much accurate. And there's a lot of reports of flooding and road closures and so on. So I think, the crazy weather and the extreme weather that people are saying is happening, we're certainly feeling it in the Western Cape at the moment.
We have had 56 millimeters of rain since yesterday morning till this morning. It's been raining softly here, nothing hectic like it was yesterday. So we are predicted another 60 today for Worcester as well. So we'll see what happens. So we've got family who's down in Gansbaai, who's at the place where all the people around them lost the roofs to the houses. There's no electricity. I also saw on Facebook that the road between Bottervier and Grabouw is washed away. Looks like the N2. It's got a massive damage to that. And it's crazy.
Scary. I also picked up that from not even from the news, but just from friends and chatter on WhatsApp and social media, that the Overberg seems to have been very hard hit, basically from here towards the Southern Cape.
So now this also is does it have an impact on the wheat production down there, because it's predominantly wheat production, which we don't know yet if there was a lot of damage with that, which we'll probably find out in the next, because this is supposed to carry on for today still also. So let's see what comes out of that.
But it certainly ties in with our discussion we had on Thursday with Ebba Rabi from Price Forbes, that extreme weather events are definitely becoming more the order of the day, and that anybody trying to grow anything successfully will need to really have a look and see how they can best cover their risks.
Yes, for sure.
That is certainly something that one needs to look at.
But if we while we're on the topic of weather, sorry, let's just have a look at what my source of weather information is saying on Facebook. Landwater. So he's got all these interesting things that he's sharing, and this is a summary basically of what's happening in terms of the wind. So on the left hand side, you've got a model of the the low pressure system, the way it's turning, and then you've got on the right hand side is a picture of the what does he call it, the upper cyclone. So we've got a cyclone happening in the upper atmosphere. So you can see that there's at times where the wind is almost got a 90-degree angle to the low pressure system down below, and that's causing the havoc. Very interesting.
Well, yes, it certainly is, and the havoc is definitely being felt. I've just seen something about a report coming in saying that Theewaterskloof, I think the road is closed there. So it's a crazy time, and good luck to everybody that's out on the roads, and please take care. Please take care.
Yeah. So I wonder, I think the people who can be affected most by this weather is going to be the wheat farming community, the grain farmers. I don't know, in terms of fresh produce, how does this affect them?
Fortunately for the deciduous fruit, it's still quite early. So it's not as if this is happening towards the end of October and the beginning of November. So, other than things being flooded and trees being uprooted and that kind of thing, it is very disruptive. But if the weather clears up after this, to put it this way, the timing of this could have been a lot worse. The fact that it is only September and not later in the year does help, even though that's cold comfort for a lot of people that are going to feel the effects of the flooding and wild winds, which can also damage crops, and also the overhead nets.
Okay,
and often
but look at this. This
yeah,
is what he shared yesterday. There is what's happening right now. This is 15 hours ago, so yeah, late yesterday. Look at this. There's something else on the way.
yeah.
So I don't think winter has left us yet.
No. So batten down the hatches and take care. And Shem, we're thinking of all the growers that have to cope with this.
Yes.
So that brings us to another topic, which we looked in the news and we found something on FruitNet, which is a global online news platform, very prestigious one, and much followed. And the topic of this article that we're looking at is, it says less than half of fresh produce sold globally makes any profit. It was published by Mike Knowles on the 18th of September. That's quite a shocker. And it says new report suggests that massive increase in production and operating costs over the past 3 years has left around 60% of supply unprofitable. That is quite a shocking bit of information. We recently attended the International Fresh Produce Association conference in Cape Town, and one of the kind of key takeaways that we had from that is that we know that South African growers are really battling to make ends meet with increasing costs, input costs, and logistical costs. But we are not alone. This is happening throughout the world. So, I mean, and this thing, it says these are two of the key findings published in the new report by the Global Coalition of Fresh Produce. It's an international think tank which brings together industry associations, including Freshfell Europe, IFPA, that I've just referred to, the International Fresh Produce Association, CEPMA, and SHAFE. SHAFE is the Southern Hemisphere Association of Fresh Fruit Exports. And so this is quite something. What is your take on that, Dewald?
Well, I think the writing's on the wall, and we also know that in the beginning of the year there was the shortage of fresh produce on the UK markets, where people just said, well, it's not profitable for us to farm, so we might as well just let the tunnel sit a bit and not produce tomatoes and lettuce and all these kind of things. So there's a say. I've always said, do you sit at home and go bankrupt, or do you work yourself bankrupt? What's the better one?
It's a scary thing, because the supply chains that are supplying these international markets, the export markets, and some of them aren't even export markets, as you say, that the UK, the people in the UK, many of them just stopped producing because it wasn't profitable. They've all been set up based on the appetite of the market to pay the prices that they need. And now, I mean, I think the pandemic has really shaken things up, in that a lot of things have become more expensive, but the consumer doesn't necessarily have the capacity to pay more and be able to afford these things. So it's really scary. It says these increases, the report says, were driven by cost of fertilizers up 60% worldwide, construction up by 48%, fuel and gas up by 41%, shipping rates up by 40%, and electricity up by 40%. So if you're producing fresh produce in South Africa with the idea of shipping it to the Northern Hemisphere markets, suddenly all those increases mean that whoever's buying it has got to make up the difference. And what remains to be seen is whether consumers will be able to find that money to do that. So I think we're in the middle of quite a big shakeup.
And then like in South Africa, where yes, electricity has gone up 40%, but then half of the day you don't even have electricity. Is another thing. So it's gone up 40% plus the increase in diesel price. So it would be quite keen to see if you translate all these price increases and the fact that we don't have and that the people need to spend money on fuel to power generators, by what percentage the cost of electricity has actually gone up in South Africa?
It's incredibly important. I mean, it's like the elephant in the room. When we try to compete with countries that are, our direct competitors who don't have the energy crisis that we have, I mean, it really puts us at the end of the queue. But, it says here, the higher costs have also affected strategic and operational choices. So certain producers have reduced their output, as we were talking about the people in the UK. Some traders have reduced their export activities or switched to produce with lower shipping costs. And it says 80% of respondents noted that they had chosen to delay or cancel investments in their businesses, not only in capital and equipment, but also in innovation and expansion. This means the impact of the rising costs will be felt for many years to come.
Well, that's very true. Look, when we were at Nampo, all the people that we spoke to, and especially next year is an election year also in South Africa, is that people just don't know what's going to happen. Is the current ruling party going to see their arse and be on the way out? Are the new people that comes in, are they going to be better? People don't know. So they are just holding back on a lot of things.
Yeah. The wait and see attitude seems to be pretty much the order of the day. But this was very insightful for us, and for me particularly in South Africa. We are so geographically isolated from our competitors on the Northern Hemisphere markets, and also from our markets. So sometimes we kind of tend to look at our problems only at our problems. And yes, we have massive ones. But to look at something like this and see that this is the conclusion. So where will this go? And I mean, the shipping lines are also under pressure to be more sustainable and to use fuel which is not from oil. So whether what the export market of fresh produce to other parts of the world will look like in a decade or two, I think there's a big shake-up happening right now.
Have you heard anything from the Panama Canal? Is the Panama Canal still closed, or is that opened up again?
No, I have no idea. But, and as we started the conversation, then there's the weather too. So I think that our fresh produce producers in South Africa and worldwide are under a lot of pressure. And they really are heading into uncharted times now. So when you go into the supermarket and you fetch your apple or pear or tomato or citrus fruit, whatever fresh produce off the shelf, think about the fact that getting it there has become a lot more expensive and a lot more challenging for all growers. And a shout out to all producers of fresh produce that thank goodness you're still doing this, even though you've got the headwinds you've got, and that we can still find this amazing stuff and very healthy food on the shelves. And best of luck.
I saw a video on TikTok. It's a snippet from a podcast somewhere where the guy said he's a grower. I don't know what he produces, but farmers are the only people. It's the only industry in the world that are price takers. They cannot make a price for what they are selling, especially if you're on the export side. Is that you pack the stuff and off it goes, and you can predetermine prices beforehand, but it's correlated to what the market is prepared to pay for the stuff, which is actually quite shocking, because wherever it goes, those people they sell what they want to sell it for.
Yeah, and it's incredibly risky, because if you are selling on consignment, which is what most South African exporters do, if something happens with a product, or if there is a problem somewhere along the way, you won't just get nothing, you will actually get a bill to pay because you have to cover the logistics cost of getting your fruit to the market. So it's a very, very risky business. And
so
I take
on
my
that
hat off to you guys.
on the very topic of prices and price increases, let me show you this, which I literally just found before we went live. And okay, it ties in with what we just spoke about. Let's go to the headline. South African woman stresses 104 Rand Woolworths ice cream. South Africa says cow went to private school. This young lady is a TikToker. This Mzansi babe shared a video showing that Woolworths ice cream cost 104 Rand. There's the picture on the right hand side.
Yes.
And then it goes down. She posted the video on TikTok, and the video is here. Let's just see if I can play this. Oh no, it's not gonna work. People took to the comment section to discuss the ridiculous increase in the cost of food. Some people claim that Woolies is now regaining its glory as the private school of grocery stores by increasing its prices to this extreme. That ice cream is bloody nice, but still. And I wonder how many of these people commenting these things are going to McDonald's and buy a McFlurry, which is 50 Rand already, and then if you buy two of them, it's also $100. It's much of muchness, but still.
So you're talking about cost of living. I think we've all felt it. We all when you have to go grocery shopping, and this ties in with exactly what we were talking about before. So, you know, when you are buying imported food, and or processed food like the dairy product, like the ice cream, a lot goes into that. I mean, to produce milk and cream these days, and then to process it with people, you know, you need equipment, you need people, you need facilities. So yes, it is expensive, but you can choose to take it or leave it. A lot of the times we have to leave it. Unfortunately, it's how it is.
Yeah, and well, they've shown some of the comments here. Woolies remembered who they are and went back to being expensive. I was there yesterday. It went from 84 Rand to 104 Rand. Okay. So, look, ice cream is ice cream because it must be frozen. And how do you freeze stuff? You put it in a fridge. What does a fridge use? It uses electricity. At this stage, what produces electricity is massive generators outside the Woolies shop. So,
yeah. So again, back to the whole supply chain thing and our problem with our electricity in our country. So it is what it is, and I know that the dairy industry is in big trouble financially. They really battle to make the ends meet because the input costs have all gone up, and they're not getting the money back from the consumer that they need to. So I think, as they say, you might need a lawyer and a doctor once in a while, but you need a farmer 3 times a day to eat. And, you know, one needs to bear that in mind.
Yes. Well, on that bombshell.
So, and also wishing all the growers best of luck, really hoping that this weather isn't going to devastate crops too much and that they'll recover. And nice to be very, very grateful to have the privilege of being dry and warm in this wild weather.
Cool stuff. All right.
Keep well, everybody, and enjoy the public holiday. We'll chat to you again tomorrow.
Okay. Cheerio.
Cheerio.